Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we are back with another brand new video. Today's our video, it's that time, ladies and gentlemen. It's time that Scottish football is on everyone's lips as it's Old Firm Derby weekend and it's less than 24 hours away. My ticker can't handle this. Honestly nation, I'm really struggling to sit at peace for today's video. I feel like I've got a bit of flubber in the old arse and I'm just bouncing up and down, but I'm going to try and compose myself enough before we go any further in to today's video. That is just to say a massive thank you from me to thee, because now our channel has reached over 45,000 subscribers. 45,000! It doesn't even make sense to me, but it's happened, people, and it's happened because of you for taking time out of your day to sit here and talk about Rangers things with me every other day. So I just wanted to start off today's video with nothing else to say apart from thank you for all the support. And of course, Happy New Year. But I guess as I haven't uploaded since last year, sorry, didn't unsubscribe, didn't take them all back. Anyway, let's just carry on with the video and we'll start off by jumping right into the old oppositional preview. And the opposition is of course Celtic, who currently sit second in the SPFL. And you know son, it's very weird to be doing this preview for Celtic because everyone's sort of seen or heard the madness that's been going on at Celtic Park this season. Usually they are very strong and very consistent, but this season they've been anything but that. I mean, from poor performances in the league to being battered or European football to throwing sharp-based barriers and protests while chasing Celtic team buses covered in nothing but the rain and tears. It's been a very eventful first half of the season for Celtic, to say the very least. So eventful, in fact, for the first time since I've started doing this channel on YouTube many moons ago, this week, build up to the Old Firm, I've not been berated by Celtic fans saying you're getting battered at the weekend, getting slapped by this guy, he's coming to run the show, and flooding the comment section with Ivory Coast flags. They've been very quiet this week, and that right there perfectly summarises the shift what's happened this season, because the first time in a very long time Celtic are coming into this game versus Rangers not as favourites. And I think a lot of that humbling from their side of things came after we bet them comfortably 2-0 at Parkhead thanks to goals from CB #1, because after we bet them, they went on a hilarious downward spiral, which has been well documented and well laughed at, by the way. But it does need to be said about this Celtic team, they did eventually change things up. They got rid of the overrated players that's been very overrated for many years, that boasted and coasted through versus easy opposition. They took them finally out their squad and they put younger, fresher players in there, and the fresher legs like Turnbull and Sorrow has added a wee bit of difference to this Celtic team, because now coming into this game versus Rangers, Celtic are on a 4-league winning streak where they haven't conceded a goal. Now to be fair, 3 of those teams during that 4-match winning streak for Celtic at the time were sitting 10th, 11th and 12th in the SPFL, all games that everyone was expecting them to win comfortably, and they did. But they also, in their most recent game, did beat Dundee United 3-0 at Parkhead, which wasn't as comfortable maybe as the scoreline suggests, as Dundee United did have a couple of opportunities, but it did show that Celtic are starting to pick up wins again, which was always going to be the case. They have some very good players and they spend a hell of a lot of money to keep those players and bring good players, and they were always going to get back to beating teams in Scottish football. All it was about was us taking advantage of their downward spiral, and I think if you go back and you check how Rangers played during that time, I think it's safe to say we certainly did. And that right there actually leads me perfectly into my next talking point. Because of us taking advantage of Celtic when they were on their downward spiral, it puts this fixture in a very interesting position, because if you look at Celtic, right, they've never been in this spot now for many years. You look at the players in their team, some of them, if not most of them, have never been in a position going into an Old Firm game with the must-win attitude to try and close the gap on first place. They've always been in and around the top. Even when we bet them last season, they were still right at us. But this is truly a must-win game for Celtic by any means necessary to keep their title hopes alive, not to build on it. And that's going to be very interesting to see how they handle that pressure. But regarding their actual team and how they set up, as we kind of alluded to earlier on in today's video, they have drastically changed the personnel, but more importantly have drastically changed their shape in how they set up, because they play a sort of diamond in the middle of the park. Now, it's very, very narrow, but it's got a lot of people going forward. It's kind of a 4-1-2-1-2 or a 4-1-3-2 with Griffiths and Edouard up top, who's been starting the last couple of games together. And they have been scoring goals, as we've already mentioned. But this tweaking formation hasn't really changed too much defensively, because despite winning the last couple of games versus teams near the bottom of the league, they're still giving opportunities and chances away. They've just been very, very fortunate, the teams they've been playing kind of scoring a brothel. And with this being an Old Firm game and the difference in quality of what they've been beaten to what they are playing tomorrow, Neil Lennon has a massive call to make, because he can either stick with his team that's been working right now with the diamond in the middle of the park, which on paper gives Barisic and Tavernier so much space it makes this guy very, very happy, or does he tweak and change it to try and slow us down? I think that tactical choice and how they set up will tell us everything about this Celtic team. If he sticks with it, he clearly believes his team is better than ours. But if he tweaks it and changes it to slow us down, well, you know exactly what that means. And you know, some ladies and gentlemen, that's kind of it for the old Celtic preview. I'm not going to sit here and absolutely say, oh, they're terrible, and break down their ridiculous losses and how bad they've been playing, especially in Europe, because there's no point in that. Form and all that always goes out the window, because it's about what's in here that matters in an Old Firm. And going into this game, we know there's two massive things on the table for both teams. You've got one side, Celtic, needing to win, needing to get a positive result to try and claw themselves back in to the title race, and you've got Rangers on the other hand, they want to add even more distance between Rangers and Celtic. So for me, it is still set up very, very nicely. Celtic still have very good players in very dangerous positions and will make it difficult. But again, it is down to Rangers to approach this game the right way. And if we keep going at it the same way we've been over the last Old Firms, we'll take all of that away for them and just make it about us. And now that we're kind of done and dusty with the old oppositional preview, it does mean we can now speak about what matters most to all of us watching today's video. Yes, that's to you Celtic fans as well. We are now here to talk about Rangers. And you know something, the smile just gets wider and wider whenever we talk about Rangers in these videos, not only because it's the team I love, but because they're giving us so many reasons to smile, especially in league football, where I think we can all agree they've been near faultless so far this season. And I know there's a couple of wee guys out there and pundits and everything like that trying to poke holes in this Rangers team, saying Hibs gave them a good game, Motherwell took the lead in the game, St Mirren made it difficult, blah blah blah, all that BS. But the only thing that matters about every single one of those games is who got the points, and we got maximum. And you know, son, even in those games that people are clutching at straws at, we got to see different aspects of this Rangers team, different sides, by the way, that we need to have in our team if we want to go ahead and win what we want to win, especially in that game versus Motherwell, where the word bottle was getting used ahead of the game, and for the first time all season long we were behind in that game, just being pumped out the cup by St Mirren, and there was bottle jokes going about, there was real pressure and questions being asked about Rangers. But once in that game, did you see the Rangers team panicking or losing their focus or getting frustrated? No, I seen a team maturely go about their business and keep plugging away and keep it going, knowing that they've got the quality and they've got the talent to go ahead and overcome it. And that's exactly what we did in this game. We showed we do have the ball, because if it was going to crash, it was in that game, but it didn't. And the summer signing certainly helped with that, especially your man Kamal Roof. And what's absolutely crazy about this game of football, I'm seeing people say, this guy's back for Celtic, this guy's fit now for Celtic, but no one's talking about the fact that we didn't have Kamal Roof in the last game, that we walked all over Celtic at Parkhead, by the way. We're even stronger now than we were in that game. So I'm very, very excited to see how Kamal Roof goes about his business in this game, because to me, he's arguably our most informed and our best attacking player over the last 5-6 weeks. Speaking of important, however, I think it's time there to finish the Rangers conversation and get to the Rangers team news then, shall we? Because unfortunately we didn't get any good news ahead of this game of football, because we found out that Scotty Arfield will not only be missing this game of football, but he'll be missing next 3 or 4, which is pretty massive for him because he's a fantastic player. But so is Ryan Jack, and unfortunately he is ruled out of this game as well, which is a real damn shame because he would have been massive. But again, instead of using that as possible excuses, I'm not about that at all. I've sat here and talked about the strength and depth of our team, and again tomorrow is another opportunity for us to go out there and show it. And show it we can, because thankfully every single other player in the Rangers team is fully fit and available for selection tomorrow. The only player is, of course, the injured long-term Katic, who thankfully will be off this list very, very shortly. But aye, Gerrard can't have too much more to ask for going into this game, this magnitude, with the players that he's got available, and it's going to be very interesting to see who he selects as well. Now for me, the front three picks itself, I have to go with Ryan Kent, Alfredo Morelos and Kemar Roofe, but Haji's been playing absolutely sensationally, so he could be in the actual conversation. So it's going to be interesting to see what you think should be the Rangers team coming into this game tomorrow. But with that being said, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the oppositional preview. That is the Rangers conversation, and that is the Rangers team news. Now, all that's left for me today is hand that over to you. Now you know a little bit more about the game of football. It's time for us to try and do the impossible task of predicting the unpredictable. So let me know your thoughts and opinions ahead of this game and what you think's going to happen tomorrow. Whilst you guys are hopefully getting involved down there in the comment section below, I will give you mine very, very briefly. I'm expecting a pure and utter battle in every aspect of the word. I think Celtic will certainly throw themselves about and get stuck in more challenges than they did Parkhead, but I don't know, maybe it's just my blue tinted specs, maybe it's just my belief in my team, which again, there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, but I just think we're going to have too much for them, and I do think it is going to go back and forth the game, but I do think they'll come out on top. So I'm actually going to go with Rangers 2, Celtic 1. My goal scorers are going to be none other than Kemar Roofe and James Tavernier. And now that me and thee have had their say, it's time to wrap up today's video. But before I actually wrap up today's video, there is obviously a massive occasion for Rangers happening tomorrow, and I didn't want to do it at the start of today's video because, you know, we try and have a wee bit of light-hearted, we try and do jokes, and I didn't think it fit if we were going to obviously pay our respects, then sit and have a laugh and everything like that. So I wanted to pay my respects right at the end of today's video to the 66 people who lost their lives going into a game of football. It's the Ibrox anniversary, of course, the 50th anniversary tomorrow. It's a very, very emotional time for Rangers fans, and I think everyone's been a touch of class. You mean, you heard what Gerrard was saying, paying his respect to everyone who lost their lives and everyone who was there, because I don't think I've actually mentioned it too many times, but my dad was actually at the ground on that day as well, and we all know what happened and everything like that. It's a very, very emotional time for us, so I wanted to end today's video by paying my utmost respect to every single person who was at the game and every person who lost their life and their families who's had to deal with that loss ever since. And on that case, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wrap up today's video, so take care of yourselves everyone, all the best. I'll see you in tomorrow's video, and bye.